Hello, good morning. Daphne Astley here, just coming on to chat about the winter solstice 2022. And at around sort of, 9:40ish, 9:41, I think it is tonight, the sun enters the sign of Capricorn, which is the turning point for the light. Once the sun enters Capricorn, it's reached its lowest point, and now it's going to start to rise. And our year is divided into that dark and light hemispheres in astrology and lots of other things. The yin yang symbol does it as well. So we've had the darkening of the light all the way from the summer solstice, northern hemisphere, right down to now. And now we are turning, and we're going to turn back towards the light. Of course, it's the complete opposite for the southern hemisphere. And there's significance in that, esoteric significance for both hemispheres, okay? It's to do with the polarization of opposites and the union of opposites and the interdependency of opposites, okay, about wholeness. So, in Astro-Tarot, according to the Golden Dawn, the minor card that rules this solstice moment is the Two of Pentacles. And here we have, okay, the two sides of the one coin, the dark and the light, the ups and the downs, okay, being juggled, being changed. And the title of this card is Harmonious Change. So that's what we're in for, is some harmonious change. And we do it every year. Okay, but there is a particular significance to the energies of this year. And unless you're living in a very remote island somewhere, you will have heard all the astrologers getting very excited. And so I'm going to try and explain via tarot why there is an excitement about this energy. And indeed, I don't need to tell you because it's tangible. You're already feeling it as we enter into the gateway of this changing of the dark into the light. Okay? So there are lots of symbols upon this image, okay? And one of the things that I like to consider, I'd like you to consider, is A, his dancing, which associates him with the world, and B, he has a very tall hat. It's like he's trying to depict chakras, centers of light above his head, because he needs a huge hat, a tall hat, to protect them. And that hat actually has little ridges on it, suggesting levels of rising consciousness. Okay, so everyone meets this solstice moment according to their level of awareness, their level of consciousness, or level of karma, however it is. So, but we're all sharing in this moment, and we all adapt, adjust, and harmonize with it in our own way, according to this card. Now, I have no decks with me because I'm on a house sit, so I'm using images that I have on my iPad, on my notebook, and it's all a little bit tricky as to how I do these things. So that's the minor energy, that's the lower self energy, okay, minor arcana, minor secret. That's the lower self energy of a solstice, of any solstice, okay? Any winter solstice, okay? When the dark turns to light. So, you know, that card, two of Pentacles, when it comes up in spreads, it's always a change for the better, okay? That's how these things work. Everything's attached to the natural cycles. Okay, so the major secret of Capricorn is going to shock you. So if you're easily shocked, turn away now. And if you're a Capricorn, apologies, it means nothing about you personally. But hey, this is the Capricorn energy on the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. And it's pretty much classical image throughout all tarot decks, okay? Now, what this is trying to signify, and I'm trying to be brief, which is impossible with esoteric subjects. What you notice here is the division of the male and the female, the light and the dark, the opposites. Okay, so that's what we're going through now, is we're at the peak of an opposite and we're about to turn to the opposite. We've been in dark, we've been falling into darkness, and now we're going to fall into light as the earth turns. So opposites are represented masculine and feminine on tarot. In all esoteric writings, I think. So here we have the male and the female, and I do hope that Facebook doesn't, or YouTube doesn't get cross with me, because these are naked people, and that's to demonstrate that it's not our outer earthly clothed masculine and feminine aspects. It's our inner pure masculine and feminine energies. Okay, and here they are divided. They're separate. Okay, they're kind of having a chat about things. And so you're saying, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? But they're not resolving anything. And this leaves them under the dominion of the demon. Okay, and he blocks their energy from rising. Okay, so the story will continue. So this year, what's important about this vibe is the planet Mars. It's a heavenly body, part of your heavenly body, Mars. Okay, Mars is in the sign of Gemini. And this is what's significant, because Mars is exalted during Capricorn. It means its energies flow more easily. Okay, and you can see, because the motivation in the world, in the material world, all those things that we think of being represented by the devil, if you like, the temptations and the restrictions, they're all very allied to Mars, our actions, our motivations, our passions. Yeah, they're very Marsy. So Mars is exalted in Capricorn, the sign of the winter solstice. And in tarot, it's shown as very dynamic energy. It throws out that masculine and feminine, the clothed outer ones, okay, throws them out and lets in some light. Okay, so it has loads of deeper meanings. Okay, not least the Buddhist phrase, get out of the house of the self, it's on fire. Okay, there's a lot of Buddhism in tarot, you find. Okay, so Mars is exalted and Mars is in Gemini. And when we look at the card for Gemini, we go back to a very similar image to the one of the demon and the two chained people. But these two chained people, again, they're pure masculine, feminine energies, but they are not separate. The masculine is turning towards the feminine, shrugging his shoulders, saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. As the masculine is representative of our action self. And the feminine turns up towards the angel, the higher forces, for assistance. Okay? And that's what changes that whole dynamic from being a demon to being an angel. Okay, it's neat, isn't it? So, this winter solstice has huge possibilities in terms of our awakening, in terms of how we operate in the world, how we bring together the male and the female within each one of us, how we turn within. Within is always the feminine, and within we turn to higher forces, to our already enlightened self for assistance. Okay, we're no longer ignorant. We're no longer ruled by the demon of ignorance. We're no longer captive. Okay, this is why a lot of what goes on at this time of the year tries to capture you into that commercial, materialistic world. Okay, but there's a quietude out there. And those who pray, pray. Okay, those who pray ask for assistance. And yeah, we are far bigger than just these two opposing forces. Okay, and indeed, there is a little hint, even right down at the major arcana, the minor arcana, beg your pardon, the minor arcana level, because Waite and Smith, members of the Golden Dawn themselves, they knew what they were doing. This guy's got a lot of red on him, so he's active, so that's root chakra stuff, survival stuff. He's also some goldy orange stuff on his sleeves, the way he handles things. Okay, and in his hands is infinity. He has infinite capacity to link together the opposites and create growing taller and taller and taller awareness. Okay, so there are things to think about, aren't they, for this solstice energy? And one of the decks that I like to look at, and I use a lot in my personal life and also for readings for people who are interested in personal growth, which is most of my customers are, I use a deck called Vision Quest. And so let's have a look at the Two of Pentacles on Vision Quest, okay? You know, as someone who's taking the ideas of the Golden Dawn, the material of the Golden Dawn, and taking it into the idea of a quest, which was there with Arthur Waite, it was there with Pam Smith. They knew what they were doing, yeah? And so here's a modern version, a fairly modern version. And so you see the dark and the light. And it's obviously designed for Northern Hemisphere because it's the light that's ascending, okay? But they are joined, that dark, that inner bit of us that's not known, that's not seen, okay? They're joined, and there's two seeds that are planted there to represent them. They both grow. That's the important bit. Excuse me, I'm slightly wheezy because there are cats in this house and I'm sitting in the room that they use and it's sort of catching my breath a little bit. So excuse that, please. So yes, so it's about growth. And so whenever I think of growth, because my name's Daphne, and Daphne in legend is turned into a tree, I always think of trees. And so at this solstice, it's really good to be a tree, okay? And in being a tree, when we stretch up to that light that's above us, above our tall, tall hat, when we stretch up to that and bring that down into our hearts, right through our body, out through our feet, and down into the hidden, unseen earth, to the centre of the earth, nobody knows anything about. Okay, and we take that light down there, and we see that there's a light in there too. And we draw that light up, and we take that right up to the light above our heads. And we see those lights being like the lovers. They embrace, they kiss, they greet each other. And they dash back down to the bottom again and embrace there and then dash up again. And you can continue circulating that energy up and down into the light, into the dark, but they're both light. They're different qualities of light. The tree on the upper part, like every tree that stands out there, creates its own little microclimate, and so do you, so do your vibrations, okay? So your crown, your blossoming branches spread beautifully and create existence from many, many living creatures, just as trees do, okay? The fruits that you produce nurture many people. And you go down into your roots, into the hidden part of you, where we know that trees are in communication with each other. It's the web of life down there. And so we connect into that, and we feel that support and nourishment, nurturing that comes up from the earth, and which we also contribute to, kind of by osmosis, again, by dint of our own vibrations. So as we bring in more light into ourselves, as we love ourselves more, as we love the light in us and the dark in us, as we embrace these two principles, so we grow inwardly and outwardly. Okay, so be like a tree. Be like a tree. There are Christmas trees everywhere telling us about the lighted tree. I love the symbolisms. So, my friends, have a really good solstice. And if you're interested in Astro-Tarot, I can only keep pointing to the Golden Dawn paper book tea. It sounds very dry and people back away from that nowadays because people like instant. But, you know, it's so worthwhile. It is so worthwhile taking on board what they taught. And then make the material your own. That is number one rule of magic. Make the material your own. Okay, use it. Well, bless you. Happy solstice and enjoy your holiday.